What do you think? New ukulele shirt, folks. Pretty smart, isn't it? Bet you want one, don't you? Yeah? So today I thought I'd do a video while I fondle this Antonio Hermoso Solid Cedar top. By the way, as the weather changes, get your humidifiers going as your heat comes on in your houses. This little fella here developed even with a humidifier on, he developed a top crack here. I just had to glue the crack and put two cleats in on the inside, and immediately the value of this guitar drops. I mean basically plays like new, but with that scar there, you're just not going to get the same amount of money as if it weren't there. So protect your guitars, folks. The one thing I wanted to talk about today, I'm so frustrated with it, I thought I'd do a video. For one reason, for those who buy and sell on this format, and another reason, I'm hoping that somehow the designers of the site will notice the video or videos like it, complaining about these things, and do something about it. For a while I was only doing local sales via Craigslist, and it was fine and everything, but I got really tired of the flakes on there, so I decided to add Facebook Marketplace and do both, and hopefully increase the volume. And I still do that, and it works okay, but there are some things that I'm noticing about Facebook Marketplace that are absolutely exasperating. First of all, when you look at a ad on there, when you go to Facebook Marketplace and you go to the ads and you click on the ad, it gives you automatic response buttons. I'm interested in this, is this still available? And you just click on them and it shoots a message off to the seller. Now, I'm sure that Facebook thinks that's a good idea, but it's absolutely lousy. It's awful. I'll tell you why. 2 out of 3, that's 66% of the people I get notifications from saying they are interested in my instruments on Facebook Marketplace never respond again, ever. They just disappear. You waste your time trying to find out if they're serious about your instrument, and they just don't respond. A couple that I managed to track down and find out, why are you blowing me off when when you're the one that sent me a notice that you were interested in this particular instrument, and they responded, I'm not interested. I must have clicked on the automatic response buttons. Those really annoy me. I hate that about that site, because so many people click on those buttons and they're not interested. And I don't really shop on there, I sell on there, and I'm not sure how people do that. I'm not sure how somebody clicks on a button they don't intend to click on, but they do, and it happens all the time, and I'm always trying to figure out who's serious and who's not on that particular site. Another thing I get on Facebook Marketplace, which is the reason why I ditched all the other sites like OfferUp, I did videos on that some time ago, I got rid of them, I couldn't take it anymore, is people ask you questions that you've already covered on the listing. For instance, somebody sends me a note, what model is this? Well, all my listings have make, model, and the most extensive descriptions that you can find anywhere, because I'm a nerd, and because I used to write, I used to do instrument catalogs and technical writing for musical instrument companies for a living. So I sort of got the verbiage down, and how to describe things and how to use the right technical terms for instruments. Plus, with my luthery background, I learned the different parts of string instruments and what to call them. So it's just exasperating when you spend such a large amount of your time being very thorough about the things that you're listing, and then people ask you questions. Obviously they haven't read the listing. And what I'm finding out on Facebook Marketplace is when they click on your ad, the photos are very centralized. They capture attention, and they only have a slight bit of your description and then a little more button at the after a couple of lines that you click on to get the whole listing. People aren't doing that. They're not seeing that. They're not doing it. They're just looking at the pictures, and then they're asking you questions based on what they're seeing on the pictures, and they're not even accessing the extensive description that you've put on there. Or they just assume that you don't describe it like a lot of people do, or don't. I see listings on eBay and Amazon, not Amazon, sorry, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist all the time that just say acoustic guitar, slightly used. It doesn't say what it is, what model it is, or it'll say Alvarez guitar, nice. They don't say what model it is, and you know, Alvarez makes $100 models, they make $1,000 models. You have to put the information, and I do, and I find it really annoying when people ask questions about what I've already stated on the ads. A lot of times I just copy the ad block, and I resend it to them. And I say, this was on the ad. This is the information you already had. And of course you have to be careful not to be snotty with people. They just won't be interested in buying from you. So I'm very polite, but I don't understand how they can miss all that information on a listing. Sometimes they actually do read the information, and there's a real problem with reader retention in this particular country, and I teach English as well as do this, so I can speak from experience. People read stuff and then they ask you questions that they just didn't note in your description. The other day somebody said, "Where's this made?" And I pointed into to the description where that's made clear. And also, it took me all of 0.3 seconds to Google it and find an article on that particular brand of guitars and where they're made. Now obviously, when you get a "where is it made" question, most of the time people are trying to filter out anything that's Asian made. They're often people that you know, they're obsessed with the idea of buying American, and they don't have enough knowledge about guitars to know that only 1 or 2% of all the guitars made in the world are actually made in the US, and most of those models are going to be $1,000 plus. There are a few exceptions. The Canadian stuff, which is very good, the Godin guitars, and there are some still probably 1 or 2 cheaper guitars that are technically made in America. I'm not sure how you know, verifiable some of that is, and I'm talking about you know, stuff like older harmonies and things like that. But by and large, you know, 95% of the industry is made in Asia, and of course you have to point that out, and a lot of times you lose that potential customer because you know, they've been indoctrinated to think that anything made in China or Asia is going to be crap or awful, or it's going to be un-American to buy from them, even though they wear Walmart clothes, which are all made in China. So you know, this is just an example of the difficulty in using this particular site, and it's Facebook. You'd think they could actually figure it out and create something that's user-friendly for both the seller and the buyer, to where you're not getting all these responses by people who are not interested in your instrument at all, or who somehow don't see the descriptions that you put on there, and you have to, you know, basically answer the questions you've already answered over and over again. Now, a lot of you will say, well, that's just part of being a seller. Stop belly aching. You just got to do the due diligence. People are flaky, you just got to deal with it. I get it, I understand that, and I do deal with it. And I only make videos and complain about maybe 1% of all the issues that come up. But I think it's important to put it out there so that maybe this can change. I probably waste, you know, an hour or 2 a week dealing with Facebook Marketplace people, trying to find out if they're interested in something, or you know, people that don't respond ever again after showing interest, or answering questions that giving information that's already on the ad. and I just find that it's so pointless and needless. It could be, the system could be improved to where that doesn't happen. Of course, you're still going to have human interaction error, and people just don't read things properly, or they want something confirmed. Is it really made in China? Yes, it's made in China. And so are Guilds, and so are Eastmans, and so are some of the top guitars in the world. It doesn't mean that it's automatically going to be on the level of an Esteban or a Mitchell. China makes good stuff. We've been through that in other videos. But it feels like you're always preaching the same gospel over and over again to people, and a lot of these systems don't weed out issues to where you're constantly repeating yourself and having to do redundant things over and over again. And Facebook Marketplace is a problem site. It needs to be fixed and made better so that it's more streamlined and people don't waste their time, either buyer or seller. And Facebook should sort that out. I mean, it's the leading social media empire in the world, along with Twitter. So you think that they should be able to come up with a template that is seamless and that's easy and that suits both buyer and seller. So if anyone who works for Facebook sees this video, fix it. All right? There's no excuse for having something so poorly designed in this day and age. See you next time.